Hey all, this is just going to be a brief navigation overview for our course in Canvas this semester. So as you see, the first thing you're going to be brought to is our home page. Our menu on the side is what we're pretty much going to work with the most this semester. I will link modules here and there, but as you all know, for those who have taken online classes before, pretty much your modules are going to be where the majority of the course content is. As we're starting out now, because the course isn't live yet, it's going to look a little bare. But here we're starting with week one. Welcome to the intro to music. There's going to be more available, again, come tomorrow when you look. But one thing to address quickly, must take the university attendance quiz. I'm sure we're all familiar with this now. We're approaching this is probably our fourth semester that this is becoming mandatory, but it is very important even for those taking online classes, because if we do not do this for every course, this could greatly affect your scholarship and or financial aid. And that's something that I know you, and I don't want it to happen to anyone either. The last thing we need is more of a headache during the semester. But make sure to, again, to address that right away. I will also check. I included it on my grading platform. So if anybody doesn't complete it in appropriate time, I will reach out and give you a reminder. So again, our modules section, this is going to be where our weekly content is going to appear. Announcements will be important. Announcements also, I'm going to list them on the home page. So, and I also always make sure that you also get an email as well. So not just on Canvas, you'll also receive an email to your Outlook inbox. But announcements will also appear on the home page below. Assignments, again, all pretty self-explanatory, as well as discussions. But as you see, you could access your discussions quickly by clicking here. But I always do link your discussions to the weekly module as well. But let's talk quickly about the syllabus, because there are some issues that will need to be addressed in your university attendance quiz. So again, always I feel refer to your syllabus throughout the semester. It'll be beneficial to seeing kind of the flow of the coursework for the semester. And there are dates here in regard to when quizzes will take place, as well as when certain papers and or projects will be due. So, Intro to Music in general is kind of a all-in-one music course. I like to teach it that we deal with the historical aspect of music, but also the theoretical aspect of music. And my goal also is for you all to create your own first piece of music through a computer. Some of you may have done this before. We'll get to it further on, but I always want everybody to leave this course with some introductory music theory knowledge, obviously some historical knowledge, but also the ability to create their own music. So in week one, we'll obviously get more familiar with the course. I really like to talk about listening, because that's another goal of mine throughout this semester, is to have you all learn to listen with a critical ear and really be able to hear every instrument that's occurring, but also hear from more of an emotional context as well, and realize why kind of certain music causes us to feel certain ways. Now again, too, for week one, you're going to have, again, the university attendance quiz and a discussion board post, kind of a two-part post there. I want to meet everybody. So there's be an introduction post. And then as you'll see in module one, I post two versions of the same song. And then I'd just like to hear, again, your opinion on it. There's no right or wrong answer. It's totally everyone's original viewpoint. All right, week two, I like to get into, this is kind of our introduction to theory. The 7 essential elements of music we'll discuss. And again, learn how to listen for them. There'll be a quiz after that week. Week 3, we really dive head on into music theory. That means reading notes for anyone who has prior music experience, whether it be C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and all that stuff. Also reading rhythmic notes, which are very important. Knowing your quarter notes, half notes, eighth notes, and their corresponding rests. And again, too, there will be a quiz at the end of week 3 on all of those notes. Next, week 4, form is a very important thing in music that frequently sometimes gets overlooked. But subconsciously, we're absorbing this form all the time. And I like to teach this from a standpoint of looking at form that originated in classical music, stemming from the 1600s, but how that form is still connected to what we listen to today, whether it be a standard verse-chorus form, or a verse-chorus-bridge form, or a blues form. So again, connecting how the past has influenced the present. All right, week 5 is when we start to begin our concepts of music creation. Again, I list GarageBand first because for all of those who have an Apple-based product, I would say mostly the computer is going to be a lot easier. The iPad and or iPhone versions of GarageBand make it kind of difficult to complete this project. So I would say if you do have access to a Mac or can utilize a friend's, that would be great. If unfortunately you do not have one for yourself. But there is also another option. There is a free computer-based DAW, digital audio workstation, called Studio One Prime. I'll post a link for it when we get there that you could download it. It's good. I'm not going to lie. It's really good for being something that's free. There are certain steps that require a bit more work as opposed to GarageBand. Like for those familiar with Apple products, it's a lot of drag and drop and makes our lives pretty easy. Where Studio One, where once something would take one step in GarageBand, Studio One may take 4 or 5. But totally doable and acceptable to do your final music project for that. Now, another thing to keep in mind, I like to introduce this in week 5, even though your project isn't due to week 13. Because for those who've never used a digital audio workstation before, there is going to be some learning curve. So I'm giving you 8 weeks, 2 months to learn how to use this program. So I do that to hopefully avoid a barrage of questions come week 12 saying, how do I create my final music project? But those are always fun. And I think a lot of you'll begin to kind of discover how the music you consume today is created via a computer. It's a beautiful thing now that anybody with a laptop can make a song. All right, in week 6 and 7, we dive directly into music history. So I do my best to encompass over 1,000 years of music history in 2 weeks. And again, quiz 4 occurring at the end of week 7. In week 8, we really start to look at the instruments that are performing the music we've been consuming, and how I think our first discussion board post this week in week 1 is going to kind of tie into this. How maybe a change in instrumentation of the same composition or piece of music can really create a different emotional effect and or response. Week 9, we dive into, again, the different types of ensembles. We go from solo artists all the way to symphony orchestras of 90 to 100 players. Again, then week 10, we take a look at how music serves in society. I feel music has been a great form of protest for over 100 years now. And also how what is occurring during a decade and or time frame in history kind of has an effect on the music and art that is created during that time. In week 11, we really dive into, again, looking at technology and music. A majority of our modern day music wouldn't exist without the technology we have now. I like to look back and how kind of sampling has a large part in, I would say, music in our lives today, not just in rap and hip hop music, but also in electronic dance music. I feel sampling is a big part there. And then I also like to look at how much the music industry has changed within the past 20 years and how that has affected how we consume music and also how music is created now by producers and artists. All right, for week 12, I always like to do an in-person performance for my classes. I usually bring in a trio or a quartet and perform. But again, being that we're fully asynchronous online, I'm going to record a performance of a group that I work with. And your job for that week will be to critique my performance. Again, we're going to lay out probably about 5 songs. And I'd like you all to become music critics for the week. And again, that's due end of week, Tuesday, April 26th. Then our final week, that's when we're going to have our music creation projects be due. And I like to have everybody put kind of a little presentation together explaining their process of creation. Again, listening to it, but you individually explaining how you created this. And then we'll also have final review information. And then your final exam will be available for the week of finals. And again, you could take it anytime during that. Now, our grading for the course. Again, this is something you need to address on your student attendance quiz. Your discussion board participation is 25% of your grade. And again, here I state, discussion board posts will be due every Friday night by end of day. So you have to have those discussion board posts in by Friday, 11:59 p.m. And again, as you know, for those who've taken online classes before, post that, it locks. So get it in before then. You'll have 3 full days to have a chance to check out some of the material and post on the discussion board. Your music creation project and critique paper, 20% of your grade, so obviously 10% each there. Quizzes will be 30% of your grade, and again, too, stating the same thing with due dates. We need that the quiz needs to be completed by end of week. So for us, that we're starting on Wednesdays, that'll be Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. And your final exam then will equate for 25% of your grade. Now, my policy on late assignment submissions. Again, like I said, your discussion board posts and your quizzes are the majority of your interactive grade on Canvas. They lock. So if you do not complete them by the time they're due, you're not going to be able to complete them. So please, again, get to those in time. I'm understanding if things occur here and there once in a while. Life is unpredictable, but again, too, I feel that we have a pretty big amount of time to address these things during the week. So again, the late assignment submissions, I would say, qualifies mostly to your music creation project and your critique paper. Again, get that in by the due date, again, your due dates are listed. Tuesday, April 26th for the paper, Monday, May 2nd for the music creation project. And I will, as you see here, anything after the due date will only be worth 70% of the grade, and then anything after a week will not be accepted for a grade, just due to the fact that the semester will be over. Here's your grading system as follows. I'm sure everyone's pretty much familiar with this. Netiquette guidelines, I always like to put this on a fully asynchronous course. It is not a requirement of you to interact with your peers on the discussion board, but I feel frequently that me not making that requirement leads to everyone doing it a little more frequently. Because you'll start to see, like, when we point out, like, oh, I really like listening to this artist, and somebody else joins in, like, oh, I really like that too. Now, you may disagree with someone's personal taste in music, but it's okay to address that, but do it in a kind and professional manner. Again, just because we're not in a classroom with each other, let's still hold the same amount of respect as we would as if we were sitting next to one another in a classroom. So no cyberbullying. Our intellectual property statement, I state this here again too, this is related directly to your student attendance quiz as well as the copyright statement. Please do not sell any of my videos. That's all I ask. Our health notification statement, luckily barring we're fully online and asynchronous. But again, too, things come up, and let's hope this is the end of everything, but we never know. And again, if you do have any health issues in regard to COVID or anything, just reach out right away. And I would say also, I'm sure if anybody's experienced it, student health services, going to them right away is really important as well, because they let all your professors know, and then that'll affect if you miss work or anything. And again, too, if anyone requires extra time for quizzes and or exams, please let me know and give me the proper documentation that is needed. All right, so that sums up our course. Again, as I stated on our homepage, any questions, feel free to reach out, and I look forward to having a great semester and learning a lot about music along with you all.